White Stag Entertainment is an analog horror series based on educational videos produced by a national park where things aren't quite right. The horror isn't about uncovering the mysteries, it's actually pretty open about what's happening. But the focus is on how the park rangers actually deal with the threats. It's very well produced and very fun to watch, so I recommend checking it out at the link below. We watched it recently on stream, so I hope you enjoy my reaction. Let me know how the volume is, by the way. This is great. Dan Savvy. In collaboration with Ocean County Parks and Recreation. They've nailed this aesthetic, haven't they? Wow. Hiking in the New Jersey Pine Barrens can be a wonderful experience, but it's not without its dangers. This tape will teach you the safe method so you can safely traverse the greatest trails on the East Coast. Wow, yeah. Safe. Stick to the trails. Oh, we're going through them one by one. Okay. When hiking, it is important to stay on the right path. Jersey Devil. Following the trail blazes will ensure you stick to the correct trail and will not get lost. A single rectangle means the path continues straight. Okay, really hard to see. There we go. Two rectangles forming a left diagonal indicate a left turn. Okay. Likewise, two rectangles forming a right diagonal indicate a right turn. As of 1968, it is federally mandated that all trails must be blazed. Do not follow unmarked trails or trails with suspicious markers. You will know. Let's go. Acquire equipment. This is a nice slow burn, isn't it? They're blazing the trails? On a hike, you should be prepared for any obstacle you may face. Yeah, don't follow the Blair Witch twigs, absolutely. Use this checklist to acquire everything you need for a safe hike. Safe Hiker's Checklist. Food, water, hiking boots, weather appropriate clothing, first aid kit, compass, hiking knife, flashlight. Yeah. Hiking knife? Are you supposed to have a hiking knife? A compass paired with a map will help when the intended path becomes unclear. Checklist is a meat grinder. You can find a map at your park visitor center. Ah. Hey Nizadi, how you doing? Like a machete, or like a pocket knife. Fear the forest. Yeah, buddy, I'm feeling really safe. Yeah, I need a combat shotgun. The, the masked people have lived in the Pine Barrens for hundreds of years. Okay, now we're getting into it. An unholy entity holds dominion over the woods. The ablations augment its strength. If you hear the whistling, you have stumbled upon a false trail. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's so creepy. Did you see that? Did you guys see that? See? Holy shit, that's so creepy. Oh, man. They're Venushka cultists. What the hell, guys? They're Venushka cultists. Oh, that's so creepy. Evacuate. Finland cylinder, old god influence. They're definitely. Yeah, absolutely. We don't know if there's people there. We only know that there's circles there. Well, there's people there now, actually. Ooh. Well, no. We need to see this guy's face. Can we get a good view of him? Oh, creepy. Like a bird mask. Yeah. It's like a bird mask. That's cool. Thank you for watching Pine Barrens Hiking Safety. Stay safe out there. Yeah. An After 10 production created by Stanley Cutts. Is this the actual creator? Is that like a character? No, I think that's just a creator. That was good. That was good. What do you guys think so far? I liked it. Yeah. It's nice, simple, good intro to the series. I wonder if that was made. It felt like that was made like it could be self-contained, like a nice little self-contained analog horror, but you could still build off it if you want to. And I think that's a good way of doing it. I think it's good that your first one can be nice and self-contained, but still leave hooks to build off of if you really want to. And that's probably tougher than it sounds. Like you don't want to. I do think that it's because in a few of the series we've seen, the first episodes just aren't very good. Hey, Emma Flame, how you doing? Horror stream? Absolutely. Yeah, we're watching White Stag Education. Yeah, a lot of the times, the first episodes and the ones we've seen have been pretty slow. And you need to be able to... This one was kind of slow, but it still needs to be like self-contained and have its own hook in there. And I don't know, I think if you set out and you say that the first one is entirely self-contained, if it flops, I don't have to make another one. And it tells a complete little story, and then it's done. I think that's a good way to think about your very first one. It's a good way to do that. And then if it does end up being successful, it does end up being pretty good, then make some more and build off of it. But if it doesn't, it's you don't have to worry about it. And it sort of it should have proves to people that your series has something worth watching. Because if it doesn't, if it's just entirely set up and there's not like really much interesting happening and it's just really slow and then it's like a lot of people will just stop watching there. I think that I liked Baroque Hour. I liked that as a whole, but that first episode of Baroque Hour was very weak. It was just creepy video. And in context, like in the context of the full series, it makes sense. It's the subliminal messages that they're sending out, right? So that is part of the whole series. But if I was like a viewer that wasn't sure about a series, and that's the first one I watched, I'd be like, oh, okay, it's just creepy video. I'm not like, what's the point of watching the rest? So I think it's a good way to think about it is to try and tell a full little story in your very first one, and then after that you can do the little individual ones that are more experimental or very, very specific and only parts of the full story. But I think for the first one, I think it should be very self-contained, if that makes sense. So, gotta set the premise and atmosphere. I think what you have to do with the first one is you have to tell people that you can deliver. So, one of the issues is, so people worry about AI content, right? AI content flooding the market, right? That's what people worry about. I don't think much is going to change because we already have too much content for a person to ever be able to watch, right? If you tried to watch every single YouTube video, you just wouldn't be able to do it. Even if you try to watch every single movie, it would take you a lifetime to do it, or read every single book or anything like that. The problem isn't in the raw amount of content. The problem is in curation. So people will only watch stuff that people that they trust tell them is good. And in the rare times that people do go out and try and find their own stuff, they need to be convinced that it's good really quickly. You have minutes, depending on the genre. You have, some genres you have seconds, right? YouTube, in like shorts or TikToks, you have seconds to prove to people that you have good content. In analog horror, you do have a bit more time. People will give you 5-10 minutes, I think. So you have to prove that you're worth their time. You have to prove it. People aren't going to sit there for an hour before it gets good. And people will do that with people are struggling to do that with movies, right? Unless they go to the cinema, which people are doing less and less. You have like in these days, you have the first scene of a movie to prove that it's going to be what people want. So you have to prove that you're worth watching is what I'm trying to say. So you have minutes, if that, right? I would go as far as to suggest that you probably have about 60 seconds to prove it. Like you'd have to look at the analytics in these videos to know for certain. I do feel like you'd probably have about 5 minutes for analog horror because people expect slower burns in analog horror. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 1 or 2 minutes and then people just go, okay, I don't care. This one may have been, I think this was a touch too slow at the start. Just a touch. I would like wind it back a little bit. Sorry, wind it up a little bit. Just a little. But it ended up, the second half was fantastic. First half, just a little slow. Second half, fantastic. I would trim down the first half a little bit. Like an elevator pitch. You have a couple of minutes to prove that you're worth watching. Like, make them care. You have to make people care. Because if you don't, they won't. They just won't. Why should they? Okay, so you have to ask, right? And this is what I ask with my YouTube videos as well, and my content in general. It's like, why should people watch this? Yo, Nazati, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So like, why should people watch my video? Like, why? Like, you've got 1 million hours of footage uploaded to YouTube every day or something ridiculous, right? Why should they watch my content? So, we should do Greylock. Next week we're doing something else, but I should get on Greylock. You're right. I'll write that down. Next week we're doing. What was it called? It's by Dark Mind. What was that one called again? It was Basswood County. We're watching Basswood County. Here, I'll link it now so you guys can check it out if you like. But we're watching that next week. Yeah, you have to ask yourself, why should people care about what I'm making? Should they care because it's good? It has to be pretty good. You have to really hook them, Should they care because you spent the time working on it? No, people won't care because you spent the time working on it. They just don't. There's 1 million hours of footage uploaded every week of people that work very hard on it. That's not good enough. It's not good enough. It has to be good, and it has to tick those boxes. And you have to prove that you tick those boxes too. You can't bury it. You can't bury it 20 minutes into an analog horror series why people should care. You just can't do that. People won't watch it. People won't stick around that long. So, not that this one did, and not that the ones that we've watched have done that. I think Baroque Hour got a bit close to that because it was slow. But I keep picking on Baroque Hour. That was a second. I was just thinking about. I like Baroque Hour. I really do like Baroque Hour. It's just got a lot of flaws as well alongside the positives. I think it's a real flawed gem, Baroque Hour. It's the thing. That's why I keep picking on it. But yeah. So you gotta really prove it, right? Time is life's greatest currency. You got to convince people to spend on it. Exactly. Especially in today's era, people won't give you the time to. People just won't give you much time. You've got seconds. Assume you've got seconds. That's why, and we go back to Mr. Beast. That's why Mr. Beast, he's like, today we're doing this. Let's get into it. And it's like, boom. It's like they're into it. It's done straight away. You don't have time to think. You can't give people time to think. If you give people time to think, that means they're not thinking about you. Basically, is what's happening. And when as we're watching it, we're talking about different stuff, right? And that's part of reaction and commentary, right? But that's sort of the point. But if you give people time to think, that means they're not thinking about when they're reading, when they're participating in media, when they're watching a video, watching a movie, listening to music, reading anything like that. If they're thinking, they're not participating. So they've taken a step back. And media, you don't want to do that. You want people to think afterwards. You don't want them to think during. So. We live in an information era, real intellectual logic out. Absolutely, yeah. What about video essays where you want them to think? No, so you don't want them to think during it. Unless you explicitly stop and tell them and make a break and ask them a question, you don't want them to think. That's not what media is. Media is the information that's coming in, you are supposed to package it in a way that people shut off their brain for a bit and let it flow into them. That's what the goal is. Because if they're thinking, that means they are a split second away from clicking off your video, basically. Anytime there's a chance someone will click off their video, they'll take it. There's a certain number of people that will take it. So that's why that's sort of that's a common thing, is any sort of obstruction in shopping websites, right? In shopping websites, sign up websites, anything like that. If there's an obstruction, every single extra click that somebody has to make to purchase something means that people won't do it. Every single time. That's why every website has now like instant buy, like with single click, because it means people will buy more. So you can't give people a chance or force them in that case, force them to think. You can't do that, because then people will break out the spell you've cast on them. Prominent magicians of this era say that there is no difference between storytelling and magic. A wizard is somebody who is telling a story. And that's the truth. That's what it is. Someone is telling a story. Yeah, they have you under their spell. And a good storyteller has you under their spell. Like Mr. Beast can make 20 minutes feel like 2 minutes because he's such a masterful storyteller. So that's the whole point, right? You can bury it a bit as long as you give people a hint that something else is going on. Give people a reason to watch carefully or double check the seemingly normal food. Yeah, so sorry. When I said bury it, I mean that there does need to, like, it's okay to have stuff like later on in the videos, right? Like, extra plot developments and interesting stuff happening later on, right? But there needs to be a really good reason for the person to stick around in the first couple minutes. There has to be a really good reason. So, and I guess with analog horror, the introduction is that promise. Like, we'll go back to the start of here. We'll go back here. So because we know this is analog horror, it's got a great aesthetic. It's nailing the aesthetic, right? Absolutely nailing it. And that's sort of the hook. Like, we know, this is gonna be a really authentic looking analog horror. That's pretty unique that people have gone this far in making it look this authentic. Right? So that's sort of the hook. I think there could be something a little... You know, like maybe how I would change it is that in these initial phrases here, I would maybe put like a little nod towards the something mysterious. It's tough though. You've got to be careful because then it really gets... It's really easy to make it cheesy, right? So it's tough. It's sort of tough, isn't it? I'd probably just trim it down, is what I would probably do. So like it's... I guess suspicious markers. So this is the first creepy thing, like right here. 2 minutes and 14 seconds in is the first creepy thing that happens. And I would want that a lot sooner, I think. I would want that a lot sooner. Yeah. Like some sort of hint, some sort of innocuous hint, maybe talk about missing people or something like that. You know, national park disappearances, something earlier is what I would think would be ideal. And then like the second half, like after that point, it's great. Like after that, it's pretty solid for the last half of it. So kind of feel like you aren't quite including the idea that people want to be immersed. Not a case of not thinking, more so you want them to think is the content you present them. I mean, that's what the immersion is letting it wash over you and not thinking about it. Like good content, your brain will basically be turned off and you will just be focused on what's happening, like a good game, good anything like that. Although I guess games are a bit different, aren't they? Because you actively do have to think there sometimes, like, you know, with puzzle games or what have you. I guess a little bit different. You only for the next second to see if their thoughts and ideas are proven, disproven, or thrown off completely as they continue to live in the world you present them. Okay. Maybe. Maybe. We'll consider that. Okay, next one. Christmas Eve candlelight service, White Stag education. I don't think this one has like relevant descriptions, so I don't think we need to look at them. Christmas Eve candlelight service. Hey, Golfrox, how you doing? Sincere observation, yeah. Hosted by the Grandwood Church of the Pines. Analog horror loves religion, doesn't it? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Why do you think analog horror leans so heavily into religion? Is it just because of Mandela County? Do you think that caused it? Because Mandela County set the stage and was so influential that everybody's like, well, we've got to include. They just sort of naturally lean towards religion now. Honestly, disagree on saying it's not thinking. When I read a story, I'm actively thinking about it because it's how I'm engaging with it immersively. Okay, religion is terrifying. It's not terrifying. Because the satanic panic in the 1980s. Oh, yeah, maybe. Like most people are into it a kind of a strange religion, as in like they're very distant from it. As an outsider, it does seem kind of weird. Religion holds more stronghold over people and can be very mysterious. Segues easier to supernatural plots. Yeah. Yeah. It does. Yeah, like it's... I think you're right there on those. On all those suggestions, actually. Yeah. I think those were great suggestions. Yeah. Religion is mysterious by default, isn't it? All religion is. And it does seem pretty strange from the outside. Seems very alien. And yeah, there was that big big influence of things like the Satanic Panic around these times that these videos would have been filmed. So religion does make great horror. Look at The Exorcist, for example. Yeah, that's true. Religion does make good horror. Consider religion can be terrifying. People who are very deep in their beliefs will hold on to it even if it's wrong with their dying breath. Well, nobody ever thinks that they're doing is wrong, do they? Religious imagery is just cool as hell. It is super cool. Religious imagery is really cool. Religion is surprisingly tied to the horror genre. Yeah, religion and horror sort of do go hand in hand quite well, don't they? To have, like, basically forever. Christian imagery depicts the highest good. It's easy to invert that and portray evil. Well, yeah. Yeah, the inversion of good and evil is, straight from Mandela County, isn't it? The highest good is the lowest evil as well, because the whole thing was Satan replacing Jesus. Was it? Yeah, it was. It's been ages since I'm pretty sure it was Satan replaced Jesus. That's sort of the core idea of Mandela County, I believe. Yeah, because Christianity does include both of those ideas: the goodest good and the evilest evil, which is also super personal. Seeing something so personal being warped is spooky too. That's true. Yeah. Ratio of religious horror films to non-religious horror films. I think that, especially these days, non-religious is definitely a lot bigger. But I think when there seemed to be more religious horror films when religion was more prominent, because it's a lot less prominent these days. Well, sorry, specifically Christianity. Whatever the current religion is, that's when you start getting more horror movies about it. But it's not it's never ubiquitous. I think This should be pretty terrifying if you think too hard. Example, demi-human godly being whose followers eat and drink their body and blood for centuries is horrifying in thought. Yeah. I can understand why these things are weird to outsiders, even if they make perfect sense from inside, right? Religion horror adds interesting existential dread to it, the worry of what lies beyond and what can soft lock you after death. Yeah, that's a good point too. It's because it's not just a worldly horror, right? It's not just, oh, you die and get eaten. And then it's like, okay, so it's just over then, right? It's like, no. It's your eternal soul here. And that's sort of, even if the series doesn't really talk about that explicitly, that's sort of what is brought in with the imagery, right? It's grandfathered in, so. Highest all meat is the lowest self for God. Blame religion for creating the image of what's good and evil. No, I think people always have an idea of what's good and evil. Religion just codifies it. Christianity are the most extreme version. Also uses fear to keep people in line too, so it's somewhat baked in. Every culture uses fear to keep people in line. Like currently the fear of one wrong word you said 10 years ago can get you fired for a while there. It's less so like right now, but 5 years ago that was happening, or saying a bad joke and someone overhears it and you get fired. 2 people got fired. That was like one of the first big things in what would you call it? Like cancel culture? I guess you call it that. But there's 2 guys joking around at like a tech convention. And someone overheard them and then posted their faces on Twitter and got them fired. I think that was like the first big Twitter fire cancellation thing. And people love using fear to keep others in line, so. Have you seen Greylock? No, I haven't. I'm gonna check it out though, for sure. I watched the first episode and I'm like, this seems like generic, like analog horror, and I was like, I don't really want to watch it. But everyone keeps telling me to watch it, so I guess I will now. I'll try and get it for a stream. So the whole loose lips sink ships thing during World War II. Exactly. Yeah. That had a definitely a more practical effect than say. Well, I guess the religious stuff does have a practical effect, but it's more of like a follow-on effect. But that one definitely did have a thing, right? But people always use the stick and the carrot. That's not alien to really any culture, really. And that comes baked in with good and evil. The evil's always the other, and the good is always the people inside. And it is important to have those ideas. You can act on them in better ways than some societies have done, but having those ideas are important to keep social cohesion. So we're always gonna see that in humanity. We're never gonna get rid of it. It will never go away, because that's just how humans work. That's just what they do. So anyway, let's keep watching. Presented by Pastor George Robertson. Should we be writing these names down? We should probably write these names down, shouldn't we? Okay, so Pastor George Robertson. Who was the last one? Hosted by Grandwood Church of the Pines. Grandwood Church of the Pines. So this must be right next to the Pine Barrens. Is there another name? No, I think that was all the names. Yeah, here we go. Sometimes what happens to you before, during, or after just death camp or your trip to the afterlife. The stick fear, the carrot hunger. Remember, I meant to ask you if you've heard of the game dev Yames before. Yames, I haven't. I'll write that down. Yames Games. I haven't, no. Recorded by Dan Sev and Luke Bale. Oh, Dan Sev made the first one. Sev Luke Bale. Special thanks. Oh, I'm not going to write that down. I think we'll just look at them.
Christmas. Christmas is a time for people to come together.
So true.
Friends, families, enemies, warring nations. To celebrate the great gift God has given us this day. His Son, Jesus Christ. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life.
So true.
Our Lord has given us creation and the opportunity to do with it as we wish. We have the choice to sin or to be faithful. Our Lord has given us his Son to undo Eve and Adam's original sin. Jesus showed us that even with free will, we can live a life free of sin.
Yeah.
Enoch 21:4. There too I beheld 7 stars of heaven bound in it together, like great mountains and like a blazing fire. I exclaimed, for what species of crime have they been bound? And why have they been removed to this place?
Hang on, isn't the Book of Enoch apocryphal? Or is it? Yeah, it was removed from the Bible. Yeah, this talks about the Nephilim. Yeah. This is not canon. Okay. I haven't chosen to sin. Well, we all choose to sin. We all choose to sin. I'm trying not to. You need a reminder that we are all sinners. So the Eldritch horror are sort of offshoot to religious horror in a way. Like they do have gods, but something far more terrifying than compose of fate worse than needing death. Yeah. I would say it definitely is. They're often overlapped. I feel like this is where this one's going. They're overlapping. But they're very similar. You could definitely say that they're separate subgenres, but they can overlap very easily. Because they do have very similar themes, don't they? You know, like the biblically accurate angels horror. It's like that's basically that's almost literally eldritch horror, right? Just Christian, right? So
Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me and who conducted me, answered, Enoch, wherefore dost thou ask? Wherefore reason with thyself and anxiously inquire? These are those of the stars which have transgressed the commandment of the Most High God, and are here bound until the infinite number of the days of their crimes be completed.
He's quoting one Enoch. Oh, okay, there's multiple Enochs. Okay. Ends error. Camcorder will only record audio.
Basement doors over there. I hate you so much. Be quiet.
I wonder if this is Dan and Luke, the people who recorded it. Okay, they're going downstairs somewhere.
Holy shit! Be quiet. This will only take a second.
So they... What the hell are they doing? That didn't work.
Shit! Fuck! Jesus Christ! Fuck! Luke! Fuck! Holy shit!
Okay. Yeah, that's the basement. Basement of the Church of Ormia. So what happened there? So I think it was Dan and Luke went to the basement to kill something. And it sounds like one of them got eaten because they shot the thing and it didn't stop it. Maybe it was Luke because the first video only had Dan. It was recorded by Dan, the first one. So maybe this one is set beforehand. Maybe. We'll see. Not gonna lie, this stuff gets a little tired when you jump from analog horror to analog horror, like seeing redacted in the SCP. Yeah. You do have to be clever about how you present it, right? Yeah. You have to be really clever about how you present it without it getting tired. Should have two-tapped it. Yeah, they only shot it once, didn't they? Okay, let's watch the next one. Intuitain product information video. The following video informational video was not produced by Stag Education. We have redistributed this video for educational purposes only. The use of Intuitain domestic pill and similar products is highly discouraged. What? Okay, what is Intuitain? So what's going on so far? We have the masked cult in the woods, and then the church next to the woods, there's something in the basement. Could it be that the people in the church are the masked cult, maybe? We didn't hear any whistling, so I don't know. I just want to ask, do you know how you're going to dress for the occasions? I'm having second thoughts of going to the bank today and Monday because I'm feeling lazy and want to watch YouTube. Gonna dress for the occasion? I'm going to watch all of this, and then I'm going to play... what's it called again? Buckshot roulette. Maybe not a little goody two shoes today. Maybe not. We'll see. Why Stag logo goes hard? It does get pretty hard. Have to go, be able to return before the stream ends. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Mech. Really appreciate it. 100% could see it on the beer bottle. It is a great logo, isn't it? Yeah. I think that's important too, is having a good look. Having good. I said this when watching Baroque Hour. You need good screenshotable things. Why Stag Education is great. Great logo for screenshots, isn't it? Over the past 7 years, Genesis Technologies has been developing a drug that heightens the accuracy of human foresight. Oh boy, let's go. This drug has been named Intuitane. That's funky. This informational video will analyze some of the tests and trials run by Genesis Technologies and disclose potential side effects of the Intuitane domestic pill. Well, let's see the side effects first. Test 1. Mouse and Pitfall Maze. A Pitfall Maze, you say. 2 groups of 25 laboratory mice were placed in a pitfall maze with a piece of cheese in the opposite end. Mice in Group 2 were each given 50 mg dose of Intuitane, while Group 1 acted as a control group. Hello, Doofus. How you doing? In the first group, 0 of the 25 mice successfully reached the cheese at the other end of the maze. Okay, so they all got owned by the pitfalls. We observe that the control mice prefer to take a direct route to the cheese and not make unnecessary turns, therefore falling victim to the pitfalls. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Nick. Appreciate it. In the second group, 19 of the 25 mice successfully reached the cheese at the other end of the maze, making for 76% success rate. Wow, that's actually pretty good. Mice in the Intuitane group made turns to avoid pitfalls, even though the route was indirect. Interesting. Conclusion. Mice in Group 1 followed their natural instinct to take the most direct route possible, leading them into the pitfalls. The 50 mg dose of Intuitane allowed the mice in Group 2 to go against their natural instinct and reach the end of the pitfall maze. And there's actually been a lot of experiments that show that humans do have some level of intuition about events that haven't happened. I'm reading this too fast, aren't I? My current intuition says no side effects. Test 2. Human and stoplight. Two groups of 25 human test subjects were sat in front of the stoplight. Group 1 acted as a control group, while test subjects in Group 2 were each given a 200 mg dose of Intuitane. What are the chances that human experimentation goes horribly wrong? Pretty high. The test subjects were asked to verbally guess which colour the stoplight would glow at random, and the accuracy of their guesses was recorded. 50 mg is a pretty big amount for nearly any drug, such a small specimen. Yeah, this Squid Game test. Group 1. Out of 250 total guesses, Group 1 made 79 correct guesses, making for an approximate 31% of correct guess. This is close to the expected 33% correct guess rate. Yes. Group 2. Out of 250 total guesses, Group 2 made 250 correct guesses, making for a correct rate of 100%. Oh my god! Test subjects in Group 1 relied solely on chance to predict what colour the stoplight would glow, while the intuition of the test subjects in Group 2 was heightened by Intuitane, allowing them to predict correctly every time. Okay. Potential side effects. Let's see. Let's see what it is. Users of the Intuitain domestic pill have reported having more vivid and lifelike dreams while asleep. These dreams can cause paranoid tendencies and insomnia. Better take pre-workout through a chest. Daniel Carpenter's dream. Oh, we know them. We know them. Yeah, good going, Henry. In Daniel's dream, he was standing in front of a group of masked humanoids. He recalled an immense amount of heat emanating from the large hole they surrounded. Oh wow, these are Venushka cultists, aren't they? Jeepers. Daniel described this melody, which he'd learned from his dream. This reminds me of that World of Horror segment in the woods. Ah, yeah. 3 days after his dream, Daniel had a violent encounter with 3 of the masked humanoids from his dream. However, he did not come across the large hole in the ground. What? Thank you for watching the Intuitain product information video. Is he okay? Yeah, he's fine. He's fine, I guess. We're just not gonna address that at all, are we? Oh, original audio from 5:13. Oh, okay. I didn't even notice. I was so into it. Huh. Okay, next one. I already get bizarre realistic nightmares that side effect hate shit. Yeah, it didn't seem like any of those were bad though. Like, oops. Yeah, they weren't really bad, were they? There's a creature in Terminator that has a black ass head and butt naked, can be found in deep woods without cultists. Oh yeah, they're called hairy men. They're in the files. You were originally supposed to be able to fight them, but they were cut for some reason. So it's a bit like Flatwoods Monster. Oh, they do a bit, don't they? Yeah. Wouldn't mind an owl mask. Looks kind of cool. Don't like the idea of a hell pit though. Sorry, you've got to have both at the same time. It's hell pit and owl mask or no deal. Sorry. Okay, Stranger Danger puppet. There we go. We got a puppet show straight away. What the hell? Take 5,000 milligram. You got to predict events years from now, maybe. Don't hug me, I'm scared time. Oh yeah, that was a banger show, wasn't it? Forest Friends. Stranger Danger special, created by Luke Bale and Dan Sevi. Okay, so Luke's here.
Oh, hi! I didn't see you there. I'm Rex. What's your name? Nice to meet you. I can't wait to tell all the other forest friends about you. My new friend. Say, would you like to come camping with us?
Yes.
You would? Great! There's gonna be lots of fun activities, like hiking and fishing, and you'll even get to meet Ranger Luke.
Oh, Ranger Luke, that's a new character. How quickly will the divorce rate spike? I think it would actually do the opposite, I think. Alright, divorce rate spike. Got that in my head now. Ranger Luke, new character. Here we go. May one, but you're supposed to tell the Sesame Street bastard your name. Oh, did I miss it? Oh, my name is Morley Doog.
Oh no! That reminds me. I have to get packed. I'll be right back.
Bye, Rex.
Alright, I don't need this. This could be
What is
useful,
that?
but no. This doesn't seem good to go camping with. I don't really like this thing. Oh, bananas are weird. Oh.
Rex, it's me, Anna.
Okay, we have Anna. Okay, Heart Puppet is
Where's
Anna.
Rex? Wait, who are you?
Well,
I've
they do.
never met you before.
Alright, I'm ready to go camping. Oh, hey, Anna. Meet my new friend.
Meow.
New friend? Rex, how do you know they're not a stranger?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they are a stranger. But how can we know for sure?
Let's go ask Ranger Luke. He knows everything about
Yeah.
stranger danger.
Let's go ask Ranger Luke.
You're right. Come on, let's go camping.
Strange means a friend you haven't met yet, right? This is cool. This is so much higher production than the other ones. This is great.
Ranger Luke, Rex and I are here.
Hey guys,
Hi,
Ranger
Ranger Luke.
you guys are just in time to set up camp.
Anna and I have a very important question.
Alrighty, Rex, what is it?
I met someone new today, and they seem really nice and great, but I don't know if they're a stranger or not.
90 Sesame Street vibe? Yeah, it's great.
Well, they certainly don't look like a stranger to me.
Guys, do you reckon I look like a stranger, or am I like nice and friendly? What do you guys think? I think I'm pretty nice and friendly. Ranger Luke is a stranger. Stranger danger things.
Hi, I'm Ranger Luke. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hey, Ranger Luke.
Hey, what a relief.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I found an honest and true friend
Does
like
he keep
you,
your glasses on?
and
Yeah.
not a stranger.
Say, do you guys remember the ways to spot a stranger?
Well,
Not really.
That's alright. We'll learn together with our new friend.
Yay! Woo! Yeah, this sound effects are great. No way.
Remember that story from way back?
Oh, this is
when?
awesome.
If you can't recall, let me tell it again. This is the story of Little Red. Went to visit Granny who was sick in her bed. She stayed focused while walking the trails. She checked every place, every single detail.
The pit.
Stranger danger when they lurk around. Tell the park ranger. Stranger danger. Don't trust the big bad wolf. Into the woods and through the trees. Red stuck to her path, nothing else to see. The sun was going down and she was almost there. She heard the birds sing, but there were none in the air. She stayed quiet, not making a sound. She was on the wrong path, and so she turned around. Stranger danger when they are around. Tell the park ranger. Stranger danger. Don't trust the big bad wolf. Little Red arrived with her basket of bread.
This is great.
There was no sweet Granny lying sick in her bed. It was too late, Granny locked the door. Red saw her face, it wasn't her.
Oh, that got me. That got me.
Trust the big bad wolf.
That was great.
Don't trust the big
Oh.
bad wolf. Don't trust the big bad wolf.
Oh wow, this is massive. This is a massive episode. Every other episode has been like 5 minutes. Wow, that was awesome. Awesome scare.
Face, it wasn't her.
That was great. Yeah, awesome production value on this one. Above and beyond. Kind of jump scares I like. Doesn't scream at your face. Yeah, it was louder, but it sort of built up to it. Like you knew it was coming, and I think that's good. Doesn't look creepy. It creeped me out. Not as creepy as some, that's for sure, but it creeped me out. Cross friends. If a stranger tries to touch you and you don't feel comfortable, throw that bastard into a wood chipper. Oh, new puppets.
This hike is so much fun, Gleason.
Okay, so Oswald and Gleason. Oswald is a blue one. Blue puppet. Oswald. What's his name? Green? Gleason. Okay. Kind of name is Gleason? Mickey Mouse, the original, it's only the original one though. It's not Mickey Mouse, it's Steamboat Willie. He's probably going to find the actual strangers? Maybe, they're in the middle of nowhere.
I agree, Oswald. But I'm exhausted from all this walking.
Puppet Lord just dropped, take note. It's very important.
Hey, do you know where we are?
The oldest tree in the forest should be coming up soon.
Well, how do you know that, Oswald? I feel like we've been walking forever.
Well, Gleason, we've been following the trailblazers, so we'll be okay.
Oh no, we forgot to use a map. Are we on a false trail?
What do you reckon, guys? And then a false trail? Definitely.
It's okay. Do you hear the melody? That means the strangers aren't hunting. Well, as long as we stand still and be quiet, we'll be okay.
Okay. That's interesting lore. As long as they are whistling, they're not hunting. So that's why you stand still and be quiet when that happens. Okay. Interesting. Gleason used to be exhausted after carrying himself his whole childhood. No good parent names Justin Gleason. Poor Gleason. Strangers harmonize on their adversaries' surfaces. What? Oswald and Gleason are fucking dead.
Hello and welcome to Mr. Gungus's Game of the Day.
Pig, Mr.
Today we are going to be playing Spot the Stranger. Come on, let's go.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a good scare, isn't it? Can you spot the stranger? This is gonna be such a good scare. Yes, it's right there. See, this is like those analog horror things where it's like, here, this is the thing that's changed. But they're usually kind of like, it's overdone now. This is like works. This actually like makes sense as well in the actual video. Like, yeah, it's an education video. They would do stuff like this. Guys, can you spot the stranger? Where is it? Is it... Where is it, guys? Can you spot it? Can you spot the stranger? Left? Ah, here it is. Internally consistent, yes. Can you spot the adversary? It writhes beneath the forest. It's a snake. Hey, Ranger Luke.
Thank you for playing.
No, hang on. What's that text? Ranger Luke. Ranger Luke, can you tell us a little bit about the adversary, please? The burning swords protect us. Well, the angels had burning swords in the Bible, didn't they? Be a pretty bad problem if they started to make education videos to this long-standing, well-known issue, yeah.
Thank you for playing Mr. Gungus's game of the day. See you
Blue's
next
Clues?
time.
The sun's set, the day is old.
But we can't rest until our stories are told.
It's really loud.
Now's the time of the night where we gather around the campfire and talk about everything we did today. So, Rex and Anna, what did you guys do today?
Oh! Today, we went fishing.
That'd be rad.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I caught a whole lot of fish today. I think I caught the most.
You may have caught the most, but I caught the biggest fish.
Yeah, right.
Well, what kinds of fish did you find?
We caught some black-banded sunfish, creek chub suckers, and even largemouth bass.
Oh, wow.
We would have caught more, but we ran out of worms.
Well, that sounds like a whole lot of fun, even if you did run out of worms.
Yeah, we'll definitely remember to pack more for next time.
Gleason and Oswald, what did you guys do today?
We went hiking.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't sound too enthusiastic. Did you guys have fun?
Well,
I don't know if I call it
the
fun.
oldest tree in the forest, but we got lost.
and before we even knew it, it was too late. We heard the strangers whistling.
What did it sound like?
It was a song.
And what did you do?
We stopped, stayed quiet, and when we couldn't hear the song anymore, we turned around.
Great job, Gleason and Oswald. Now, what would you have done if it wasn't a song they were whistling?
We would have closed our eyes and ran away.
Great job!
Hooray!
Always remember, strangers have no regard for your well-being. They aren't like us. Do not follow them into the woods, no matter how friendly they look. See you on another episode of
Forest Friends!
All living things
In memory of the Grand Wood Fall,
bound
Rex.
by a
Oh no.
train, summer to fall,
Samuel Gleason. Oh no.
to spring. We all sing in
Oswald
chorus
Jones.
the song of the
Oh.
forest till heaven comes.
Oh no. All these kids they're based on the dead kids.
The day is old.
But we can't rest until our stories are told.
Oh, we can't rest until our stories are told. Oh, that's so ominous. Oh no. So these kids were probably taken by strangers then, huh? Wow. Yeah, recontextualize. Wow. Okay. So yeah. The strangers are so common in the woods. They they can't get rid of them, but they still have the park open. Open for hikes and stuff. Why? Why would you go there? That's wild. I don't know, guys. Would you go there? What was it? Would you go to Pine Barrens? I wouldn't go to Pine Barrens. Are you kidding? If I went, even if it wasn't like super common knowledge, right? Even if it wasn't like super common knowledge, and you go there and then they sit your family down and start playing these tapes, I'd be like, well, you know, it's been nice, but we're just gonna go now. We're just gonna go. You know, I think there was like a McDonald's back down the way. We'll just go to McDonald's instead. We'll just go watch a movie. We'll go to the movies, guys. We're not going to the murder forest. Ranger Dan was a creepy wolf jump scare guy. No, that was part of the story. I think that's just like a generic cult member. I don't think that's him specifically. People are idiots. Well, haunted places are often sought after, especially by teens. That's true. Actually, yeah, that's true. But this place literally has the devil here, so... Looking for a fight, gotta level up, grind XP on stream. Yeah! It would be a good spot to grind, wouldn't it? Okay, next video. Okay, we only have one more. When did this one come out? 2 months ago. Okay. Bit of a gap between them, isn't there? Grandwood Park Ranger Training. Oh, here we go. Another 10-minute one.
Congratulations on being accepted into the Grandwood Park Ranger
yeah,
program.
Yeah, it's like Valverde.
You're on your way to fulfilling one of the most important niches in the New Jersey Pine Barrens ecosystem. However, there are still a few more basics you'll need to learn before you head out onto the field.
Yeah. What are we watching?
Meet Ranger Craig.
What a unit!
He's a new ranger here, just like you.
We're watching White Stag. Here, I'll get the link. This is the current one we're watching. Here you go.
He's eager to protect and preserve. But wait, Craig. I have to tell you some things before you begin.
Yeah, and how you doing, Nigel? Thanks for coming in. Sub and... Okay. Sub alla Angeli. Sub alla Angeli. Underneath something angel? What does Allah mean? Let's see. Let's Google it. Let's go translate. Sub alla Angeli. Under those angels. Ah. Under angel wings. Okay. Allah is wings, is it? Oh, it's detecting Romanian. Why is it detecting Romanian? Go Latin. Under the wing of an angel. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's Latin. Yeah, it detected Romanian. I guess it's close enough. You may now choose to resign and leave the Grandwood Ranger program, or continue with your training. If you choose to resign, notify your training supervisor immediately. You cannot resign later. The contents of this tape are highly confidential. This is your final warning. Well, with a warning like that, you'd sort of have to. You'd have to keep watching, right? Can it resign later? I think that's legal. It's the government. They can do what they want. Romanian stealing the Latin language. I think everybody stole it. Environmentally sensitive and unsafe areas.
Just like any normal park ranger, you'll be given an assigned area to monitor. Your duty, above all else, is to protect park guests from any and all threats. While on patrol, you will notice trails without correct blazing or proper documentation on your map. These false trails lead to Inner Grandwood.
Inner Grandwood.
If you find a false trail not yet marked with a red triangle on your master map, take note of its approximate location and report it later. Visitors are prohibited from walking all false trails. If you see a visitor veering onto a false trail, kindly ask them to return to the marked trails. If they refuse to acknowledge the question, do not hesitate to aggress.
What? Do not hesitate to aggress?
If you find a trail marker with no correlating mark on your master map, scrub the blaze off with a sponge and mineral spirits. Then, dry it with a clean cloth. This is a false trail. Make sure it is marked accordingly.
This up Gleason and Oswald? Yeah, but they died. Look at those legs. Yeah, he had pretty nice legs. Tempting sights and sounds?
Guests come to Grandwood National Park to experience the best trails the Pine Barrens have to offer. There are many species of birds native to the park, making it a hotspot for bird watchers and ornithologists across the globe. Unfortunately, visitors oftentimes fall victim to clever imitation. Strangers are bipedal organisms that live in the park.
Bipedal organisms?
They produce a whistling tone that sounds similar to birdsong.
So they're not even human?
There are two known whistling patterns strangers demonstrate. A distinct melodic pattern signifies a feeding gambit is underway.
Feeding gambit?
A feeding gambit poses no immediate threat to trail-abiding visitors, but may lead them into unsafe territory. If you see park guests entranced by the stranger's song, kindly remind them to stay on the marked trails. Investigation of the feeding gambit is unnecessary and not worth the risk.
Snake boy, let's go. Ranger can't run a meter. Safe areas become unsafe.
Sometimes, your designated area will fall victim to a hunting gambit. A hunting gambit on a marked trail is an uncommon act of desperation, but is still important to prepare for.
What are they desperate for?
You'll know a hunting gambit is in progress by the stranger's erratic whistling pattern. This whistling is how they communicate. Refer to your handbook for more information regarding how to further decipher stranger whistling patterns. During a hunting gambit, urge all nearby park visitors to close their eyes and run in the direction of your voice toward the start of the trail. Report the active hunting gambit to Grandwood National Park headquarters via your handheld radio. A siren will sound to alert all other park rangers to evacuate their designated areas. If you hear the siren, lead all visitors back to the park entrance, where a head count will take place. Once the head count has concluded, all park rangers will be dispatched to search for any unaccounted for visitors.
There will be so many in a national park.
Hunting gambit.
Subdue the hunting gambit.
After dispersing, you will return to your designated area to subdue the hunting gambit and search for any unaccounted for
He's got a
visitors.
gun, let's go! Fuck that. Nah, sorry bro. Nah, they can have the park, bro. This is yours.
Any bodies.
Strangers vs. Mood Scorch. Who would win, actually?
Strangers will not retreat unless enough sustenance is gathered or a majority of the advancing strangers are subdued.
Oh, is that
Strangers hunt in packs.
This is the camp from the. This is the camp from the puppet show.
So attempting to flee is futile. When you encounter a stranger, do not hesitate to aggress.
Shoot him! Shoot him!
Do not cease fire, no matter how human their cries sound. They have surrendered their body to the forest, and you are doing them a service by freeing their soul.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're not like organisms that spring up. They're people who have been controlled by the forest, by something else inside them. So there's like an organism inside them that is controlling them. That makes sense. Bro, that's only one. There was like 5 of them. The forest is used for human vessels, absolutely.
You should feel no guilt. Congratulations! This concludes the Grandwood Park Ranger training video. You will now be led to the physical training course, where you will be put to the test. Being a ranger here at Grandwood is a job unlike any other, and we're thrilled to have you on our side. I'm Ranger Dan.
And I'm Ranger Luke.
Hey, Ranger Luke.
Stay safe out there.
Hey. Oh, Ranger Dan, that's Dan Savi. Yeah. So there was Dan Savi was making the videos, the early videos, and then there was Ranger Luke as well who was making some of them. But then Ranger Luke vanished. At some point, I think Ranger Luke is dead, bros. I think they went to the church. So in the second video, right? So in the second video, they filmed this. The Grandwood Church of the Pines, they filmed this. Recorded by Dan Savi and Luke Bale, and they're both Rangers that we saw at the end there. But one of them dies at the end. They use that as cover to go underneath the church and try and kill whatever was under there. See, Dan Savi, it's only Dan Savi now doing this in the very first one. But then we see at the end here, see Dan and Ranger Luke. So and Ranger Craig is a new one, but I don't think Ranger Craig has showed up in any of the other ones. So we could probably build a bit of a timeline, I think. Probably build a bit of a timeline. So we've got episode 1 might be the latest. Episode 2, so that's 2. And so this one, episode 5, is after episode 4, which is Stranger Danger. Where does episode 3? I don't know. Intuitain. I don't think we have any information about Intuitain. I think it doesn't really matter where it goes. Wait, no. There's kids here. Do these kids... Margaret Pendleton's dream So it's about a never before televised puppet show. Okay, so yeah, this one is like might be the earliest episode then in To Attain. So that's 3. Okay, so the order is this one first, and then puppet show, and then Craig's Ranger training one, and then the Christmas Eve one, and then the very first episode where it talks about the strangers. Interesting. Yeah. Ranger Craig didn't make it. I don't think he made it. No, I'm pretty sure Craig might be dead. I think. Recorded for teaching, so that many people must be people pretending to be strangers and dress up. Some of it is, yes. Definitely in this one. So I think every stranger we see in this episode is fake. Because it is supposed to be training episode. So I'm pretty sure every stranger we see in this episode is fake.
Strangers hunt in packs, so attempting to flee is futile. If you find a trail marker with no correlating mark on your master map, scrub the blaze off.
Especially this one's definitely fake. This is definitely a fake.
Do not cease fire.
Especially because they ignore the cameraman as well.
No matter how human their cries sound.
Supernatural legs, yeah. What are the comments? Did you survive in New Jersey?
They have surrendered their body to the forest. And you are doing them a service by freeing their soul.
Yeah, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think of it? I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a great series. Not as deep as some of the other ones, and definitely not as mysterious. It just straight up says, yeah, there's crazy dudes in the forest. Yeah, they're eating people. Like some of the other ones like try and really hide what's going on. This was like, nah, it's just out there. Yeah, it's the devil. Like, and like horror done right. Yeah, I feel like it could be a bit deeper, a bit more mysterious as to what's happening. But I do like that's more of like a personal thing I would like about the series. Yeah, great presentation, great production. Like the latest episodes have fantastic production value. I really liked. This might be my favorite episode 5. I really liked it. And like you see, you've got the spooky things like right here, like straight, like, you know, a minute in, boom. It's like, no. It's like, oh, okay. It's not telling you what's spooky, but it's like, yeah, something spooky is happening. And then, you know, you got that, and then it starts building up more and more and more until the very end. And it all works in universe as well. It's very consistent, internally consistent. I like how each episode is pretty different too, in like how it actually portrays what's happening. Like the first one is very standard analog horror, but like with higher production value and like real people doing stuff, which is cool. Second episode, pure analog horror.
Until the
to the point where it's like, okay, we've seen this before, and I think they recognize that. It's like it's not that amazing. This was a good one. This was also a classic analog horror, but it was interesting. It was very interesting what was happening. Easy episode is for a different target audience. I don't know if it was a different target audience. It feels like the creator's very experimental and trying different things. Because, you know, you've got this one right afterwards, which is, again, is like, you know, in quotation marks, classic analog horror, pure analog horror. And it's more interesting. And then after that, you go straight from that to a live action puppet show, which is ridiculous.
I don't know if they're a stranger or not.
Like, that's absolutely fantastic. Like 5 different puppets.
Today, we...
And then these I don't know if you count them as full puppets, but...
Thank you for playing Mr. Gungus's Game of the Day.
And then the reveal that they're actually based on dead kids. Like, oh, brilliant. Just brilliant. Recontextualizes the whole thing. This is an amazing episode by itself. I think you could probably just watch this episode by itself and be really entertained by it. Same with this one here. I think that's actually what I think a lot of them miss, is that each episode needs to be entertaining in its own right. And that's what a lot of them mess up. And that's what, like, going back to what I was talking about before, how the first episode is like just sort of boring setup a lot of the time. And it's not entertaining in its own right. This one was, again, a little, like I said before, a bit slow at the start, but the second half was good. And it's unfortunate that it's almost always the case in analog horror that the first episode is the worst one, because that's what people started off with. And so it's not as good. They're still figuring out their style, what they want to do, what story they want to tell. And then they want to build on that idea, and then their later ones get way, way better. But the first one, like, turns a lot of people off because it's not very good. I do think it's best to, like, that's why I think it's another good idea to make the first one a complete this one-off. To say, no, this is a self-contained story. If I want to adapt it, I can. Like, keep going with it, I can. But the story is done, right? If I ended it here, that's fine. Because your first one is probably going to suck. That's usually the case. Unless you have experience with video editing and making videos and storytelling. Unless you have experience with that, your first one is probably going to suck. That's just how it is, right? You know, nobody picks up a bike and starts riding straight away. That's just how people work. So, and even in more experienced projects, the first one does tend to be the weakest anyway, unless it's some sort of miracle. Like this one, the first one is, I don't know if it's the weakest, but you can definitely tell it's rougher than the later ones. Like, you know, 4 and 5 are like way better than the first two, and a lot better than the third one. And then you know, going back to Valverde, which again is Valverde is a special case. But I think it's a good way to sort of highlight a series that does basically everything right. I think Valverde, you've got to try very hard to poke holes in Valverde. And the reason why is because it's made by somebody who is familiar with telling stories and is familiar with making videos and making art like that. Because, you know, like you said, he made it as an animation reel, right? He made it to get work. And he's an industry professional. So he knows how to do this stuff, which is why it's so good. But it paces the horror really well. It paces the story really well. It paces the reveals. The art is just astonishingly good in Valverde. Like, I think it might be the one with the best art I've seen. Just full stop. And that's because he has experience in the field. Like, if he came in absolutely clean, he wouldn't be able to make anything half as good as that. But that's because that's just you know, that's people just can't. You know, you can't go from nothing to something like that, right? So yeah, I do think it's worth doing something that this ends up being a discussion about analog horror in general. And analog horror is definitely one of those things that is easy for people to get into, has a very low skill floor, a very low entry level. And that's what's led to its bad reputation. That's the same as like Unity games. They had such a bad reputation for a very long time because they had such a low entry level. And how you doing, Ken Julius? And you know, I think it's definitely worth, you know, trying. You know, I'm not saying don't do it. Like, you know, absolutely, if you want to make it, go nuts. You know, at the end of the day, make whatever you want, right? But I do think it's best for creators to start with something, smaller and simpler to get used to it before jumping into a bigger project. Because, you know, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot harder than you realize to make what you want. And your sense of taste develops as well. Your sense of taste isn't as good as you think it is. It never is. So, ideas that you think are great before you get into actually making it end up usually not being that good. That's like, you know, the idea of, again, going back to games, this is one of those things where it's like idea guys come up with all these fantastic ideas for games, but then if you actually sit there and try and make it, they don't work, and you don't realize that until you actually get in there and try and make it. Unity quality, exactly. Like, there's nothing wrong with Unity. Well, before they went crazy, like the actual engine itself, right? Not counting the corporate side. the actual engine itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make games bad. It was just a lot of people that were inexperienced using it and releasing it as their first games, and it had the big splash screen saying, "This is a Unity game. It sucks." And it's like, oh, okay. Valverde's amazing, and I'm not surprised Learner's a pro. Yeah, because when we were watching Valverde, the Alluvium, the creator, actually came in, and he was chatting with us, and yeah, the idea was like he made it to get as a portfolio piece to get work. And I think I don't know. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, but yeah. Sorry for that aside about analog horror in general, but no, I really like White Stag. Production wise and quality wise, amazing. Like pretty good. Very high quality. Fun. I wouldn't say that it's particularly deep. It's not trying to be though, is it? Like it's not really trying to be that deep. I think it's just like it's more trying to just tell a fun little story, and I think it's doing a very good job at that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's one of those things where it's not trying to set up like a full story is the thing. Like there's no sort of like there are some lingering questions like what happened to like what's under the church, right? What's the deal with the church and that? But it's like is there much else? Like the church thing almost seems to have been forgotten because it's been like 3 episodes since then and it hasn't come up again. So no overarching narrative. Yeah, I feel like there could be a bit more of a hook in that regard. And yeah, thanks for how you doing, Mick? Welcome back. Yeah, good legs. This is Percolate to you. Percolate whipping out his legs. Yeah, I feel like there could be a bit more of a hook, and this is just a bit more personal, right? You know, I don't think they're aiming for that. That's the impression I get anyway. They're not aiming for that, and it's just telling fun stories set in this world where there's weird monsters in the forest. It's fun, you know. But you know, we'll see where they go from here. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go. What'd you do for a Klondike bar? If you like this video, please consider becoming a patron. Thank you all very much to the patrons who have already supported. Their names are on screen now. If you become a patron, you get access to video previews, scripts, your name in the credits, and seeing main channel videos a week earlier than public.